위협을 찍었어. 위협을 진짜.
잘 보셨나요?
너무 멋있었어요. 조심하세요. 조심하세요. 앞에 좀 비켜주세요. 너무 멋있었어요.
혹시 한국에는 없나요?
네?
한국에는 행사 없나요?
조심 조심.
아마 또요.
밀지 마세요. 앞에 비켜주세요. 조심하세요. 조금씩 손이 한번.
Jungkook's arrival sparks drama. So why is Jimin still the name fans can't stop saying? The moment Jungkook stepped into Seoul, the atmosphere instantly shifted from anticipation to chaos. Cameras flashed, voices shouted, and security struggled to maintain order, yet one striking detail emerged. Despite Jungkook's highly publicized arrival, the name echoing through the noise was not solely his own. It was Jimin. Why, in the middle of Jungkook's dramatic return, is Jimin's name still the one fans cannot stop repeating? The scene at the airport was unlike anything expected. Fans had waited for weeks, speculating on Jungkook's movements, crafting theories about his return, and preparing banners to welcome him back. But when the idol finally appeared, walking alone through the terminal, the drama did not end with him. Instead, it sparked something larger. Whispers spread, voices grew louder, and in the middle of cheers for Jungkook, the questions began. Where is Jimin? Why is his name louder than ever? Observers noted that Jungkook's presence, powerful as it was, seemed incomplete. His solitary figure triggered a surge of speculation, and fans who once focused entirely on him found themselves pulling Jimin into the story. This shift was not accidental. The bond between their names, built over years of shared stages and public appearances, has grown into something fans refuse to separate. Even when Jungkook dominates headlines, Jimin refuses to vanish from the narrative. The emotional intensity of the moment cannot be overstated. For every camera flash capturing Jungkook's face, another fan voice shouted Jimin's name, as if one could not exist without the other. Social media exploded almost immediately, with trending tags focusing not just on Jungkook's return, but on Jimin's continued presence in fan discussions. The question became louder with every passing hour. Why is Jimin's name overshadowing even Jungkook's physical arrival? Experts in fan culture might argue this is a reflection of the intertwined identities that global audiences have built around these figures. Jungkook may stand physically in Seoul, but emotionally, fans tie his every step to Jimin. The drama, therefore, is not only about who arrived, but also about who is absent yet impossible to ignore. This paradox fuels endless debates, leaving readers to wonder, is Jimin's invisible presence stronger than Jungkook's visible one? What makes this situation even more explosive is the timing. Jungkook's arrival should have been the singular headline, yet every conversation shifts toward Jimin. It is as if fans cannot process one without the other. Some claim this is an emotional reflex. After years of shared history, seeing Jungkook alone triggers a sense of imbalance. Others believe it is something deeper. Jimin's impact, whether intentional or not, has grown to a point where silence about him is impossible. This phenomenon is not just fan fiction, it is a global reaction unfolding in real time. Tweets, posts, and live updates show the same pattern. Jungkook sparks drama, but Jimin dominates the commentary. Headlines report on one man's arrival, yet the emotional conversation circles back to the other. Why? Perhaps because Jimin represents the part of the story that remains unanswered, the mystery that fans cannot resolve. The intensity raises unsettling questions. Did Jungkook expect to face this shadow upon landing? Did fans realize that by shouting Jimin's name, they were rewriting the narrative of the moment? The spectacle proves that in the world of global fandom, no single event belongs to one person alone. Every move, every step, every arrival becomes part of a larger conversation where absence can be louder than presence, and in the end, the truth is unavoidable. Jungkook's arrival sparked undeniable drama, but it is Jimin's name that lingers, echoing through airport walls, dominating online feeds, and haunting every headline. The world watches Jungkook walk alone, yet the silence of Jimin becomes deafening. The story refuses to separate them, and the tension leaves one burning question behind. Will there ever be a moment when Jungkook stands alone without Jimin's name following close behind? The ripple effect of Jungkook's arrival did not stop at the airport doors. Within minutes, global platforms recorded millions of interactions. Yet the overwhelming presence of Jimin's name overshadowed the event itself. Analysts pointed out that the unusual dynamic highlighted a shift in fan psychology. Even when confronted with Jungkook's visible actions, the audience's emotional memory defaults to Jimin. What does this mean? That the drama surrounding Jungkook cannot be consumed in isolation. It is bound, inevitably, to the constant echo of Jimin. Every major media outlet attempted to frame the story around Jungkook's homecoming. Headlines screamed of his return, video clips spread like wildfire, and interviews were rushed into production. Yet despite this, the online narrative betrayed a different truth. Fans flooded comment sections not with questions about Jungkook's health, schedule, or appearance, but with repeated mentions of Jimin. The irony was impossible to ignore. The louder Jungkook's name was pushed, the stronger Jimin's name resonated. Observers began to dissect this phenomenon as if it were a cultural case study. Why does absence create more noise than presence? Why does Jimin, who was not physically part of the scene, dominate its outcome? The conclusion is unsettling. Audiences have come to expect that the narrative of one cannot exist without the other. And in moments when that balance is disrupted, fans instinctively restore it by invoking Jimin's name, consciously or not. Tension escalated as live broadcasts replayed the footage of Jungkook's solitary walk through Seoul's terminal. For some, it was a powerful image of independence. For others, it was an uncomfortable reminder of who was missing. With every replay, the chatter grew louder, weaving Jungkook's return and Jimin's absence into a single drama that neither could escape. It was no longer a question of who arrived, it became a question of who was not there, and why his presence still lingered. Psychologists studying fan dynamics might argue that this is not just about celebrity but about collective memory. Fans build emotional maps over years, connecting moments, faces, and names. When Jungkook appears alone, that map feels incomplete, sparking a subconscious demand to restore equilibrium. Jimin's name becomes the missing piece, shouted not merely out of affection but as a way to correct the imbalance of the scene. This transforms a simple airport arrival into a psychological drama where silence is intolerable. The global reaction, however, reveals something even more dramatic. By centering Jimin in a moment that should have been Jungkook's, fans expose the difficulty of separating their narratives. Even international press noticed the paradox. The louder Jungkook's return became, the more headlines referenced Jimin as the unavoidable counterpart. It is a cycle with no clear end, raising urgent questions. Is this dynamic strengthening their legacies, or trapping them in a narrative they can never escape? Consider the emotional fallout. Fans who adore Jungkook celebrate his arrival, yet many simultaneously pull Jimin into the spotlight, as if afraid to let one stand without the other. This duality creates friction. Online arguments erupt, with some demanding that Jungkook be allowed his moment, while others insist that Jimin's significance cannot be erased. The result is a battlefield of voices, each amplifying the drama further until the original event, Jungkook's landing, feels secondary to the storm it unleashed, and every thread of discussion. The same haunting theme emerges. Jungkook is here, but Jimin is everywhere. That paradox captures the very essence of why this moment refuses to settle. It is not only about arrival. It is about presence versus absence, noise versus silence, seen versus unseen. The human mind cannot resist filling gaps, and in this case, fans fill the absence of Jimin with more noise than Jungkook's presence itself. What remains to be seen is how this dynamic will evolve. Will future appearances by Jungkook continue to spark Jimin's name in the same uncontrollable way? Or will there come a time when Jungkook steps into a spotlight truly his own, free from the shadow of another? For now, the evidence is undeniable. Jungkook sparks the drama, but Jimin sustains it, transforming one man's journey into a two-person narrative that refuses to fade. And so the questions linger, unanswered yet unavoidable. Why is Jimin still the name fans cannot stop saying? Is it loyalty? Nostalgia? Or has his presence transcended the boundaries of physical appearance, embedding itself permanently in the emotional fabric of fans worldwide? The drama ignited by Jungkook's arrival refuses to close, and with every passing hour, Jimin's name grows louder, proving once again that absence can be the most powerful presence of all. The longer the world digested Jungkook's return, the clearer it became that the drama was no longer about a single airport moment. Instead, it had evolved into a cultural spectacle, a test case of how modern fandom redefines narrative. Jungkook physically appeared, yet Jimin's name dominated every corner of conversation, as though presence and absence had swapped roles. This inversion unsettled even seasoned observers, leaving them to ask whether the reality of what happened mattered less than the perception fans created in real time. Scrolling through international feeds, one pattern was unavoidable. Posts capturing Jungkook's steps were immediately flooded with comments about Jimin. Images meant to highlight one idol's return were reinterpreted as proof of another's significance. It was as if audiences refused to consume Jungkook without simultaneously invoking Jimin, transforming every frame into a dual narrative. The airport became a stage, but the script was rewritten by the crowd, one mention of Jimin at a time. What makes this phenomenon explosive is not merely its scale but its emotional intensity. For some fans, calling Jimin's name is an act of loyalty. For others, it is a protest against the idea of separating the two figures. Either way, the outcome is the same. Jungkook cannot appear without Jimin reappearing alongside him. If not physically, then in spirit. This reality leaves a haunting question hanging in the air. Can Jungkook ever claim a moment that belongs solely to him, or has Jimin become a permanent part of his story? The debate stretches far beyond casual fan chatter. Commentators dissect the psychology of attachment, arguing that this drama reflects a deep-seated need for continuity. The human mind resists change, and when familiar bonds are disrupted, when Jungkook appears alone, fans instinctively restore balance by invoking Jimin. This act is not random. It is a ritual, a collective insistence that what once existed cannot be undone by silence or absence. And yet, the more fans call for Jimin, the more they complicate Jungkook's narrative. His arrival was supposed to spark headlines about independence, strength, and return. Instead, it triggered speculation about interdependence, absence, and the emotional weight of missing figures. The louder Jungkook's story becomes, the louder Jimin's name follows, refusing to let one exist without the other. The dynamic escalates further when considering the global reaction. Audiences from different countries interpret the same event in strikingly similar ways. Jungkook sparks the spectacle, but Jimin sustains it. This symmetry is too consistent to ignore. It suggests a universal pattern, one that reveals the enduring power of association. Once two figures are tied together in public imagination, separating them is not only difficult but nearly impossible. Critics point out that this cycle may be unsustainable. Can Jungkook continue to face moments of visibility if every step forward drags Jimin's shadow with him? Or will fans eventually allow for differentiation, granting each figure their own lane? The uncertainty adds another layer of drama to an already volatile situation, making every future appearance a potential battlefield of narrative control. Even the language fans use betrays the complexity of the moment. Statements like Jungkook arrived, but Jimin is everywhere, or one is seen, the other is felt dominate online spaces, blurring the lines between fact and perception. It is not simply about who was there, it is about who mattered, and the shocking truth is that absence sometimes matters more than presence. This paradox resonates beyond the fan world, raising broader cultural questions.